The broadcast is now starting. All attendees
Hi,
are in
everybody. Thank
listen-only
you for
mode.
joining us at Webinar Wednesday. This is Tracy. I'm the Client Success Manager here. Today, we are going to be talking about the Android cloud messaging, how to set that up. Android had a change in the way that they did push notifications. So when you do a new build for distribution, you're going to have this set up in your Android account in order to be able to get a build for distribution build to work on Android. So I'm going to turn this over to Tony, and he's going to walk through this for you. If you have any questions, just type those into the chat area on the GoToWebinar screen, and we will answer those at the end of the Tony's presentation.
All right, thanks, Tracy. So, like she said, we'll be going over how to set up the new Google Cloud messaging credentials in your app in the MobileSmith platform. So, I've got I'm logged into the platform, and I've also logged into my Google account. And the first thing we're going to want to do to enable this new Google Cloud messaging services is go to the URL developers.google.com/mobile/add. So this is their new Google developers screen to enable services for specific projects, web or mobile based. So you'll want to go to that URL first, make sure you're logged into the appropriate Google account, and from there we have our main dashboard. We could do several things, but the first thing we're going to want to do is click the Get Started, Pick a Platform button. So we want to enable services for our Android app, so we'll click that button. And sometimes, depending on if you've already created stuff for this project, you might already have a name filled in. But for this presentation, I don't have anything filled in. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the name of my app. And then the next step here is to enter in the Android package name. And in order to get that, you have to be logged into the MobileSmith platform. And the package ID or package name that Google wants is this right here. So if you have multiple apps in your account, make sure that you choose the correct one. So here's my Prager's app, and this is the package ID for that app. So I can just simply copy and paste that over in that field, and that's the first step. So by default, Google wants you to share data and information with them to improve their products. So that is up to you whether you want to do that or not. I typically don't. So after we have our name, our Android package name, we can go ahead and choose and configure services. So you'll get a success message saying that the app was configured properly, and now you can select some services to add to it. So what we're concerned with is cloud messaging. Again, that allows you to send messages to your Android device users. So I'll click the plus, and it's going to ask me, do I want to enable it? And yes, I want to click the button, Enable Google Cloud Messaging. So get a nice check mark saying that it configured properly. And the next couple steps will be going back from the platform to our Google developer account, copying and pasting some information. So the first key we want is the server API key. So we'll copy that, bring it back over to our MobileSmith platform, and we'll want to be in the app project and in the app stores and push credentials section. So this is where you'll enter in the information that you are creating in your Google developer account. So we copied over our server API key, so we can just paste that right in there. And you want to just make sure that that matches. So starts with A, ends with a O, and it looks good. So the next part would be the sender ID. We'll copy and paste that right in there. And then the last step would be to generate a Google Services JSON file. So this is the new addition that Google added in order to send notifications to your Android device users. So the last step in Google Developers be we can close that out, and it'll give us a generate configuration file button. So we'll click that. And it just is kind of like a review page, the next step, just saying, these services have been implemented and you can now download your JSON file to use in your app. So we'll download it. And from there, we'll go back over to MobileSmith and add the JSON file we just downloaded. There it is. And then we'll hit save. So once we've entered everything in and you hit save, you'll have to do a new build for distribution if your app is either in the store or you're using it privately. One thing to know is that if your app is in the App Store, you'll want to do a new build for distribution here. Change the version number first, obviously, and then do a new build for distribution, and then submit the update to the public app stores. If you've created this as an enterprise account, then you'll want to give the new link once you do a new build to your app users so they can re-download it. So with that, I will open up the webinar for questions.
So if there is an app in the store right now that is live, so one of the questions coming in is if there's an app in the store right now that is live, will the push notifications work on it, or will we need to do this to get push notifications to work on Android for an existing build that's live?
Yes, so the question was, if you have an app already in the stores, will the existing build continue to work as far as Android notifications? And the answer to that is yes, they'll continue to work until you do a new build for distribution. Yep, so best practices would be to update the app in MobileSmith and then submit an update. We suggest that only because continuing to do new builds might affect the app in the stores, but it shouldn't. You should be okay until you do update it. But our recommendation is to update it as soon as you can and submit an update.
Since this is changing the way that Android is working, the question is coming in, are there any changes that need to be made for iOS?
No, so iOS is the same with your push certificate and the password for that certificate. On Apple's side, nothing has changed yet. So you wouldn't have to do anything additional for Apple.
The question is coming in, have there been any changes then to the way that MobileSmith handles push notifications in general? Is it still one to everyone, or with this change, can they begin to target out different groups of people?
Right, so we haven't implemented any enhancements as far as how the app builder, sends out push notifications to your users. It is still in the app lock section under push notifications. So this setup is still the same in the sense of you sending out alerts or notifications.
All right, are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much, Tony, for walking us through this. As always, thank you for attending our webinar Wednesday. You'll be able to log on to our site and view a recording of this at your convenience if you need to. If you have any questions that arise after this webinar, please contact your client success specialist, and they will be able to answer those questions for you. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks on September 7th. And that will be hosted by Anthony. He is going to be covering form submission to email and walking us through how to do that and how different use cases are that you can use that for. So we look forward to seeing you then. Have a great day.